all who come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Tuesday, the 21st of May, 2024. I'm your host, Jason Braden at Main Gate Magic, and today I only have my friend Mimi Duty with me. Hello, Mimi. How you doing?
It's just me.
Just you. Just you. My wife is sick right now, and I have to say it's probably my fault because the reason that we did not have our episode last week is because when we took our trip to Disneyland, I went down there thinking that I had some kind of allergy issue. And it was just starting with, like itchy nose and kind of runny things. And it just got a lot worse. And unfortunately, it was pretty nasty. I spent 4 out of the 5 planned days at the park, and they were very, very, very limited days for me. I didn't go as often as my family members did because it was just nasty. I had to call the doctor. They gave me all sorts, like 5 different medicines to take just to kind of help me while I was down there.
Oh, man.
And it was just horrible. And and because I thought it was allergies beforehand, we didn't, take things as cautious. And now, of course, she's sick.
Oh, no.
So, and because she has to go to work still, and she's training right now, she's got to save her voice for the classroom.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
you're supposed to get sick at the end of your Disney vacation, not the beginning.
I know. That's usually what happens, right? I mean, it happened when we went to Florida, right?
Yes,
and that's happened to me many of the times that I've been to Florida, and I think a couple of times when I've been to Disneyland, too. But this particular time, it was probably the weekend before that we went. We flew down on a Wednesday, and I think that I started getting sick on the Sunday before. And I think it's because when I went to Modesto and did that Star Wars thing for May the 4th.
Oh, yeah.
I think I may have got something from somebody there. So
That'll do it.
I gotta be a
I
little
tell you,
more
when
careful.
I worked at Disneyland, I was getting sick like every couple weeks because you don't just get your local flu. You get the local flu from every
state
around the world
that people are traveling from.
You're getting flus from China and flus from France and all kinds of stuff. It's great. Well, hopefully she feels much better.
I hope so too. I mean, it's already kind of like in the worst part ever phase where it's that uncontrollable cough, and I had that as well. It's unpleasant. You feel out of control. It makes you want to cry. It's just nasty. Nobody wants that.
Big no.
So that's why we have multiple people that can be
so you're not just talking to yourself.
Exactly. It would be kind of weird, I mean, I'd be like, oh, so how's everything going?
Do
fine, Jason. I probably could. I've done voice acting stuff where I talk to myself. I play like other characters that talk to each other. So, I mean, it's scripted, but I'm sure I could probably work it out somehow or another. Hey, Patricia, how's it going? Thanks for the well wishes for Lisa. I don't. She might be watching this right now. I don't know. She's like, I don't usually get free time to watch TV on my own programs. So I might just watch TV instead. And I'm like, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel better. It's totally fine.
We don't care. Enjoy yourself. You're miserable.
Exactly. All right. So that's the reason why we were out last week because both Lisa and I, when we got back from our vacation, were not feeling well. I even have still sort of like a little bit of a thing that makes me cough every now and then. So if you see me go mute and doing this kind of thing off screen or something, you'll know exactly the reason why. And so rather than just canceling it, we just postponed it. And I think that's what I'd like to do for any episode that we just can't attend.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah, it just made the most sense. Health always comes first. That's what we always say. So the week before that, we had Mr. C. Andrew Nelson on, which was a really, really fun show. He is
phenomenal.
Super hilarious. And we had a bunch of trivia where we got to try to stump the Dark Lord. And here, just in case he's watching, I got to throw that back up on the screen because I know he loves that photograph that I took of him.
And we
Although
did.
he's the one that
stump him.
Yes, he's the one that donned that helmet at the convention, and I told him, I said, this is open season now. But yeah, I did stump him, and it seemed to be only on, mostly on questions that had to do with Yoda. Exactly, right. But you know what? I was at the beginning. I said I was hoping that I would at least get him on maybe 2 or 3 questions out of, I don't know, the 20 that I made up or something like that. And sure enough, I think it was a total of 3.
I think it was 3. Yeah.
So yeah, because when I was putting together the highlight reel, I was kind of counting them as I went along. And I'm like, oh, okay, I thought it was only 2, but it is actually 3. So anyway, yeah, if you guys actually want to see the playback for that, it is available on Facebook and of course also on YouTube. You can watch those. They are going to be up there indefinitely. And also, I did a recap video where it's probably like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes long, and I put it up on TikTok, Instagram, and also Facebook. So if you guys want to see the short stuff about it, if you didn't have time to listen to the whole hour-long sesh, then that's fine.
Pleasant to watch, though.
Yes, very pleasant to watch. Okay, should I tell the story about what happened before we started this particular live stream?
Sure, I think that would be very pleasant.
I mean, this has nothing to do with Disney news, but it's just fun, and it might put a smile on people's faces when they're listening to it. So we hop on this thing about 10 minutes before every broadcast, and we talk in sort of like what we'll call the green room, or the backstage area. And because it's just Mimi and I, we were just chit-chatting, and she shared some good news with me, and I was like, oh, that's fantastic, and I wanted to play the little audio that I did, and I'm scared to do it now because I don't want it to happen again.
Just in case.
Yeah, so I'm not going to play it now, but it's the little audio clip that I have where all the kids go, yay! And as soon as that finished playing, my screen went black, and my computer just literally, it shut down. And that doesn't usually happen. I've got a really nice gaming laptop, and I keep it really clean. I've got a good, virus protection software on there, and I don't really use it excessively except for when I'm doing audio recordings and, of course, the podcasting. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, okay, well, thank God I have enough time. But then I had to, go back outside to where my laptop is outside of my booth. I had to open up the little screen and see what it was saying. I had to do a hard reboot, which means I had to hold down the power button for 30 seconds or something like that before it finally shut down. When I booted it back up, it says it was doing a diagnostic, and then when it was done, it said it was fine, but it made this really disgustingly loud, weird beeping noise, like boop. But thankfully, when I went back and looked, it says everything checked out fine. And the only option that I had to continue was to shut it down. I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be horrible. So I shut it down.
Meanwhile, on my end.
Yes. Meanwhile,
the cheering sound effect.
I was going to get there. Yes.
It's just going.
Because I text Mimi and I said, my computer just shut down on me. I got to read this because it was hilarious because I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. I said, my computer just died on me. Give me a moment. And her response was, I am howling with laughter. You have no idea. And I'm like, why are you laughing because my computer died? I'm like, she's got some kind of sadistic sense of humor. And Lisa thought it was because it was, at least for once, it's my computer that's having issues, not yours, right? And I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's the reason why she's laughing. So anyway, I finally get it rebooted. I finally get it started up. And when I get back into StreamYard and I finally get back on stage, it's 2 minutes before going live. And just like Mimi says, the kids are in the background with a loop going, yay, yay, yay.
Oh my God.
I just oh, is this what you've been listening to this entire time? Patricia says, yeah, cheers for hours. Exactly.
I got very used to there's actually, it's funny because if you listen to it long enough, there's subtones. There's one kid that's yay. Not as enthusiastic at all.
They have to harmonize,
Oh yes, that's true. You have to harmonize your cheering.
So yeah, that's how this particular podcast started up. And before this, I had never, obviously, we have never canceled or even postponed a podcast. So I'm already thinking to myself, oh my god, now I'm going to be late, or my computer's going to die. I'm going to have to do it on my phone. We're going to have to like explain all this stuff. But no, it just ended up being a funny malfunction with my computer. So anyway, I had to share that. It was just too funny to pass up.
Good times.
All right, but we are going to try to do a small little video or audio clip because it is time.
It's time for Main Gate Magic News.
It's time for the news. Okay, and we're still live? Yes, thank God we're still
Yes.
live. It didn't
You are
die on me
alive and
this
kicking,
time.
and it's not repeating. Most
I know. So we're gonna go over some news. It's gonna cover a lot of the stuff that I've been kind of missing out on in Disney related news, mostly park related news, but I also got some movies that I'm excited to talk about as well. And then of course I'm gonna talk about what I can talk about for the trip report that I did because I was so sick. I never even posted anything to social media, and that is not me. I'm always
Yeah, that is
posting
unheard
ride
of.
videos, selfies, and doing little clips on TikTok and stuff like that, and just going crazy. And everybody, when I got back, several people when I got back, they're like, "Why didn't you post anything on social media?" It's because I was sick. It was
Poor
horrible. I was miserable. So that's the reason why. But anyway, let's get down to business. Okay, so in the parks, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We are still waiting for a release date at Disneyland. We don't have an official release date yet. I don't believe I've seen anything for it. I did a search. I
No,
didn't see
don't think
anything.
so.
But the Magic Kingdom is actually going to open theirs on June 28th this year.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, but just in time for summer, thank God. I mean, although summer in Florida, I mean, throw a rock.
Well, I mean, you're gonna get nice and wet on
Yeah.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So
Definitely. And the one thing that I didn't actually think about on this, and maybe you have any insight on it, but Splash Mountain at the Magic Kingdom had the double wide seats, whereas the Splash
Yes.
Mountain in Disneyland only has the single row
Yes.
seats. So I'm wondering, are they gonna change? They probably won't change it because it probably has to do
Nah.
with the track width, I'd guess.
I think so. I mean, when it comes to Disneyland, when they build anything, especially when it starts at Disneyland, it's the
Oh my God. Can you hear me?
Did you? Yes, I can hear you and I
Okay.
can see you.
I don't know what happened. My screen just went black again.
Oh
I'm
no.
freaking out here.
Well,
Freaking
okay,
out.
it survived.
All right, sorry.
You're alive.
Please continue. Yes, please continue.
Anytime something opens up at Disneyland first and then Walt Disney World,
Yeah.
the Disneyland version of the attraction is like 9 times out of 10 gonna be half the size in some form or another.
Yeah.
I assume it has something to do with that.
Okay.
So I imagine they'll maintain the double wide. I mean, although I hear it is more annoying to load.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should take away this like blackout thing here. I only put this up because it shows a reflection at night, and people can actually see my screen and it kind of reflects the podcast video that I have on my screen. I'm like, I don't want that, so I put that up. But yeah, maybe it's maybe I got ghosts in here that
Haunted.
are trapped because of it. Yeah.
Well, that's what you get for going on the Haunted Mansion. Just
I know. Well,
they
not
followed you
yet.
straight home. They followed you
Not
straight
yet.
home.
I know, right? I know. Watch out for hitchhiking ghosts. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I know it probably has a lot to do with space because there's lots more of it out there than there is out in California. And you're right. They probably won't change anything, but I was just kind of curious if you had heard anything because there's a lot of times where I get all this news, but then somebody else is like, oh, no, didn't you read this article on this and that site? I'm like, no, I only read what I read. So anyway, when it does open in the Magic Kingdom and also in California, Anaheim, California, it will be starting with a virtual queue, just like every other premium ride that's out there, like Tron and things like the Spider Shooter, it's Rise of the Resistance, and I can't believe I'm blanking on names. I still have sick brain, people. We're gonna blame it on the sickness. So, anyway,
You got sick and travel brain. You're
yeah,
all
exactly.
covered.
I know. I'm all covered. So anyway, that's the latest on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'm still excited to go on the ride. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be like a continuous go-to attraction because I'm just not as big of a fan of water rides as I am of other stuff. Because I just don't like getting soaked when I'm dressed. It's just odd.
I have been bribed onto what the attraction formerly known as Splash Mountain. I'll call it that.
Okay,
I was
that's fair
bribed
enough.
onto that late at night too many times.
Yeah.
So many times. I have so many pictures of me soaked from head to toe, looking absolutely miserable.
Right. Yeah,
It's just
the last time that
not
I
pleasant.
remember going on it was with my son Gabriel. You don't really get to choose your seat, but if you sit in the front, that's where the water literally just like and there's one particular splashdown part. I think it's the first
Mhm.
time that you go into the dark area and it's like completely dark and it kind
It's
of
like a
goes
tidal wave.
down and then it goes up and then it goes down again. And yeah, the water just comes in from both sides in the front, straight down onto your legs, onto your pants, your shoes, your
Oh,
socks,
yeah.
splashes your shirt. I mean, at that point, if you're not like covered head to toe in water, you got a lucky day.
Yeah,
You
the final
know?
drop, not that bad. All things
No.
considered, not that bad. It's that one in the
Right.
dark that gets you every time.
Yes, it is. It's so crazy. I just never quite understood that. But I know it's also not as bad in the wintertime because as far as I know or as far as I understand, they actually lower the water levels a little bit so it's not as bad. It doesn't get as people as wet because they don't want people catching cold or getting, sick from, being freezing
Yeah,
to
that would
death
be
in the cold
unpleasant.
weather. All right, so along the same lines of that, since Tiana's Bayou is also around that, it's in Critter Country. We did notice that at this point, Critter Country is completely closed. That includes Winnie the Pooh's ride, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and all the shops that are related at that point. You can only go as far as the Hungry Bear restaurant. Everything else beyond that point is closed. The path that's
Interesting.
right before the Hungry Bear entrance is that goes to Galaxy's Edge is still open, so there's still multiple ways to get out to that area. But I think because of the probably I'm guessing the store that they're going to be putting at the exit of the ride
Oh, yes, I think I
is
did read
probably the
something
reason
about
why they're
that.
doing all of that. Yeah, so no Winnie the Pooh for anybody who's thinking about going soon. In case you're listening to this, just be prepared because it's not going to be open for a while. At least I'm going to say probably not until late summer. My guess is that Disneyland is going to do a late summer opening. I'm thinking
Yeah,
probably in like late July, maybe like a
They're
month or
still
two
saying
afterwards.
2024 on the website.
Yes, exactly. And they're not going to
So
want to
it's
wait too late for an opening to a water ride
yeah,
unless they have issues, obviously, which is very possible. We all know that.
very possible. I know that the maintenance on that attraction when it was Splash was a nightmare. There's a reason why it always looked so rough, and that's because doing maintenance on it involves like it's different from other attractions where you can't really, and it's in a lot of ways it's the same with Pirates, from what I understand, is that you can't just there's a lot more involved because there's all the water in the way and stuff, and so like you have to go through certain areas to get to other things. It's very annoying.
Well, I'm sure
So
there's lots of underground piping and stuff like that and tanks
yeah,
and things
it's
like
a
that.
little bit more involved than even It's a Small World, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
not as, I mean, if you notice on Splash, or well, it's not Tiana's yet, but whatever. If you notice that the water does, kind of go underneath everything else.
Yeah.
In Small World, it is just in your tiny little canal there. So,
Right.
and then the rest of it's just on platforms. It's not like that in Pirates or Splash. Both of them
There is
have
one
that.
part where it does. No, it doesn't go into the rivers. There's a part where it goes out and gets close to the rivers of America, but it's not
Yes.
connected to it. It's just kind
No.
of contained before it. But I think it's kind of meant to look like it's part of the rivers of America. It was really well designed, and I love. In case you guys actually haven't ever done this before, there is kind of a hidden path that is right behind the Harbor Galley in I think it's still considered New Orleans Square, where they serve lobster rolls. Really, really yummy lobster
Really,
rolls.
yeah.
$15
And clam chowder in a bread bowl.
and clam. Do they serve clam chowder in a bread bowl there? I
They
thought they
did.
didn't.
They may have stopped.
Oh,
I think
okay.
they were closed the last time I went. So
Gotcha. Yeah, but
or
you can get
or
it. I mean,
it was raining the last time I went. No, they were closed. Yeah.
and it's a decent portion. But anyway, right behind the Harbor Galley, if you just kind of walk behind the little building there, the little building facades or whatever you want to call them, it takes you on a path, kind of behind that area, and opens up into a Critter Country looking kind of concrete path. And if you look over on the right hand side and look down, you can see where Splash Mountain kind of comes out and does a little U-turn and heads back into the dark ride area.
It's actually kind of like a little bridge, so you can see it
Yeah.
go under. It kind of goes around, and then you can see them go under you the other way.
Yeah, and it's a
back
great place
towards the
just to chill.
attraction.
It's a great place just to chill. I always like looking down and just seeing, because that's right where everybody gets like the big splash.
Oh yeah.
Even though we know it's not like the biggest splash like we were talking about earlier. It's
But
still
you
a
get to
lot
watch
of fun.
everybody screaming and yelling
They're,
at each other.
they're
And, oh my god! I got
laughing.
so
Yeah, I
wet!"
know, exactly.
I will never
So-
forget. I think I was 14 years old. Went on a trip there, and I was back there wandering because that's what I do. And
Mhm.
the Brer Fox character was there. And
Oh,
he
okay,
was
wow.
standing there looking out over the people on the ride, and he was picking leaves off the plants and throwing them on the riders. And then they'd all turn up to look, and he'd be up there. It was great.
That's great. I mean, I don't know how I feel about him picking leaves off the plants, but
I
mean,
agree, but it does seem fairly in character for him to be tormenting all the poor attraction
I would agree.
riders.
Yeah, that
So-
is his character. All right. Disneyland Forward is next in the news. I actually saw an article, I believe on May 7th is when this was announced, that the city council actually approved the
Oh, yes.
project.
Yes.
So it is official. Disney Forward is going to be moving forward. I hate using the same word in the same. I hate using the word twice in the same sentence, but that's just the way it works out.
necessary.
Exactly. And as far as I know, there is still no definitive plans for this. There is only concept art and thoughts and ideas about certain attractions that they want to bring.
Knowing the space they're talking about, I am very interested to see how they actually go about it, because it is not, all things considered, it is not that much space.
No, it's not. But we know how well Disney can
Oh,
cram
Disney is-
things into a
yeah.
small space.
They're very good with space, that's for
Right.
sure.
Especially Anaheim. They're like, okay, how much can we get rid of this ride to make room for this new land, you know? So, I mean, look at Galaxy's Edge as an example. I mean,
That's true.
I had heard the news about the Disneyland Railroad being closed, and then they said it was not just going to be closed, but it was also going to be rerouted. And my jaw hit the floor, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, it's not the most exciting attraction in the entire world, but it's one of the things that we love to do because we want to just every once in a while just kind of sit and like look at all the sights and stuff like that.
Oh no, it is a must do every time
Yeah.
for me.
Absolutely. And, go to the prehistoric canyon and everything like that. And, look at the
Exactly.
Grand Canyon before it was, inhabited by humans, and you see the lightning. And they actually did a really good job upgrading that several years ago.
And I
with
know that a lot of
projections and
they
lightning.
added some stuff from Ellen's Energy Adventure when it closed in Epcot as well. They
Oh,
moved
yeah,
some of
that's
those animatronics over into the Disneyland Railroad, which I thought was really neat.
That
When I
makes
was
sense.
working there, we got to see some of them backstage. We got to take pictures with them. It was great.
Super cool. Some of the things that they did actually say could be possible attractions at Disney Forward, and I don't know if that's gonna. I think that's just a project name, isn't it?
I
not
think
what
it's a
they're gonna-
project name.
Yeah.
I mean,
really
we all
hope that's not what they call
remember
it in the future.
Disneyland planning to make things easier for people to get to Galaxy's Edge being called Project Stardust. They always have
Right,
fun
there you go.
names for their
Yeah.
projects. So I would guess it's a
yeah.
project name, not a area name.
It's to help keep things confidential, and I get that because my full-time job, we do stuff like that all the time. When there's a new company that wants to go public, they don't call it by the actual public company name. They call
No,
it
of
by a
course.
project name, so that way everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, that one. So
Yeah.
Anyway, the attractions that they had possibly thrown out there that could be included, but may not be limited to, is Tangled, Tron, Peter Pan, Frozen, Zootopia, and Toy Story. Myself, Toy Story's covered because we've got
Yeah.
Pixar Pier, and we've got a lot of stuff out there. We've got Jesse's Carousel, we've got the Toy Story Mania shooting ride and everything. I think we're good with Toy Story. What I would love to see, and speaking of sea, because I have this in my news as well, Tokyo Disney Sea
Yes.
has a new land opening up, these sons of guns, and I want to say something worse, but it's called Fantasy Springs. It's a new
And it's
land.
amazing.
If you guys have not heard of this yet, go out there and check out the videos that are available, the designs, the concept art.
Spectacular. I mean,
It
Tokyo always
Looks cool.
everything they do is always spectacular, but this
Yeah.
is I mean, anybody who saw the Beauty and the Beast ride back in, I think it was 2021 that it opened, and were blown away by the animatronics. Like,
Yes.
take a deep breath, sit down, and then look at the stuff at Fantasy Springs,
Yeah,
because
I mean, it's
holy
not going to be
mackerel.
anything Avatar-like, when the Na'vi River journey. It's not going to be like, the big Avatar at the very end that's singing and playing the drums, and it's not going to be that articulated, but
But it's amazing.
it's articulated cartoon characters that look like they were pulled right off the
They
screen
look
with no
so good.
projections.
No
With no
projections.
projections, and it's
No
beautiful.
scary aerial faces.
Yeah, I know. And I know this is how Tiana's is going to be done, and that seems
Yes.
to be kind of the way that most attractions are going nowadays. I don't really see a lot of projected faces anymore. It seems to be going more
I
the
am
way of
personally
animatronics.
grateful for.
Me too. Amen.
It's so nice to see practical figures being reintroduced.
Yep. So on Disney Sea, the Fantasy Springs, I think they've done soft openings, because there is videos out there of the people from the public going on the rides and everything, and there's videos on YouTube. I think I saw the ones that I looked at on WDW News. I think that's the YouTube channel it's called. The rides that they actually have there is called, they have one that's called Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure, and oh my God.
It's hard
amazing.
to tell from the ride video, but from what I've heard, it's like Peter Pan's Flight meets Flight of Passage.
Right, kind of.
That is very much
what
I've heard a lot of people describe it as the vibe.
It's a trackless ride, though. It looks like, I'm pretty sure it's a trackless ride. And it does kind of the integration of animatronics with projections. And this one is actually also a 3D ride as well. You get 3D glasses with you and everything. And it just goes through the entire Peter Pan story. I mean, it actually starts off in Neverland, though. Mm-hmm. And you end up going back to London to drop the kids back off at their home, and then you fly back to Neverland at the very end. So you kind of end where you started. And I mean, if you guys have any chance to look at it, it just looks so beautiful. And it even has like a little pre-show, I think, in the queue line, which I think is amazing. Yeah,
the geek level is. I have no words. I have no words.
That's why I'm stammering.
I cannot even.
Because that one, I think, is the one I was the most excited to watch when I was checking all these other ones out. And the other ones are Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey,
which looks amazing. Like, you go into it, you're looking at it and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be like the Epcot ride. So I know kind of what. No, not at all. You're wrong.
But it is a boat ride. It's similar in that aspect, and it's also similar in the sense that it goes forward and it also goes backward. And it does have a few, drops here and there, but they're not like as big as the one in Epcot for I think it's called Frozen Ever After, if I'm not mistaken. But it does have very similar animatronics, but again, those ones are face projections. This one is complete animatronics, and it's with the exception of, I did notice there was an exception of the trolls. They still had projection faces, but it's just, they're rocks, so who cares? So that one looked a lot of fun, and it told the entire story of Frozen from from when they were kids to do you want to build a snowman? So when they got older, their parents died. Now, spoiler alert. Sorry, folks, if you've never seen Frozen before.
Frozen's been out for 10 years, guys.
I know, exactly. Yeah, I think we're good at this point, but I still feel like a little guilty. And all the way to the very end when her frozen heart is thawed out and everything, and the effects that they did to unfreeze her. Have you seen
the way her cape is like solid, and then I don't know how they did that.
I had to rewind that 3 different times to try to figure it out, and I'm like, that is just like, it's just the little things that just made it look so amazing. But unfortunately, you have to go all the way out to Hong Kong to see it. Tokyo. My bad. But anyway, the reason I'm getting into this is because I'm hoping that and I think that Disney said that the Disney Forward project, they hope to bring rides either like this or similar to it to the new area for Disney Forward. And then, of course, the final ride is Rapunzel's Lantern Festival. This one didn't look as amazing. It's a part of the Tangled story.
Spectacular, but I think it is very beautiful and well done.
Yeah, it looks like sort of more of it's a small world kind of vibe where you're just sitting in the boat and you're just
It's a
kind of like
chill.
floating
It's a
through and
chill ride.
chill. It's got some
Speaking
of the
of chill
songs from
rides,
it.
though,
Hmm.
you're missing one more, and that is
There
the
was one more?
Tinkerbell one. The
Oh, I don't know if
Tinkerbell
I
one,
saw that
which is
one.
basically it's very I've seen people compare it to Heimlich's Choo Choo Train, but
Oh,
Tinkerbell themed, and it's
gotcha.
very cute. It's themed
Okay.
around the Tinkerbell animated movies.
Would it be
Um,
kind of like if they put a little choo-choo train inside of Pixie Hollow at Disneyland?
yeah, pretty much that's the vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's one car vehicles, but it's that kind of a going through the tall grass and seeing
Yeah.
things. It's
Makes
cute.
sense.
It's cute.
Who knows? Maybe they even brought some of the stuff from A Bug's Land all the way out there to repurpose it.
Hey, that'd be pretty cool.
It kind of would be. So anyway, that is all I have for Fantasy Springs. If you guys are interested, check out YouTube. There's several videos out there from different people. And I believe it opens up on June 6th. So if you guys
So
happen to be in the
exciting.
Tokyo area, then make your way over there. It looks like, and from what I understand, that is like literally like the best Disney park in the world. I've never been there, but it is definitely a dream destination.
Yes, God.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard so much about Disney Sea to begin with, and then
Yes.
they add this on top of it. They're just like saying, if you don't get out there, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life.
Even Andrew, I think Andrew said he had a chance to go to Disney Sea once, and he said it was incredible. It blew his mind, and I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. All right, so more Disney news. Pixar Fest is still at the Disneyland and California Adventure Parks. It's both of them. It's still running now through August 4th. It contains Pixar-inspired goodies throughout the park, and of course, also, as mentioned, I think on the previous episode, or maybe the episode before, I can't remember, there are 50 hidden Pixar trucks or Pizza Planet trucks throughout both parks. Now, I did actually see several of them while I was down there. I wasn't looking for them immediately, but when you see it, you see it.
Yeah.
And I think the first one that we noticed was on It's a Small World. Now, believe it or not, yes, I went on It's a Small World. It's not my favorite ride in the world, but my sister-in-law wanted to go on it, so we're like, yeah, sure, let's go. I mean, if anybody in our group ever says, I'd like to go on it, I'm not going to say no.
No.
I just wouldn't choose to go on it myself. That's all. For the obvious reason that I think everybody in the world actually has as well. But I saw one in there. I saw one at Big Thunder. I saw one on the Incredicoaster at the very, very end, where Jack is blown up into a big, huge baby. There's a little tiny Pizza Planet truck. And I actually saw one. They're not just on the rides. They're scattered throughout the parks in general. And I know this because I found one at the Cozy Cone, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, we were sitting there just having a snack and a drink, and I turned around and I looked inside of the little hotel lobby or motel lobby or whatever of the Cozy Cone, and there's a truck right there on the table.
Oh, that's great.
I know. I was like,
I love that they've
Pixar
kind of
truck.
gone all out, because I remember the last time they did Pixar Fest was, I think, in 2018.
Uh-huh.
And it was fun, but it was mostly like, okay, food and drink offerings, and a fireworks show. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that they kind of went all out with it this time a little bit more.
And the great thing is that they're not the same truck in like everywhere. It's not the original colors of the Pizza Planet truck. They actually paint them and theme them to the area that they're hidden in. So like,
that's awesome.
I mean, I saw one at the Adventureland Treehouse, and if I remember correctly, it was like painted to look like it was carved out of wood.
Oh, that's really cool.
I did not see this one myself, but I know that Dave from Fresh Baked Disney found one at the Droid Depot, or at least he saw one at the Droid Depot where somebody pointed it out to him. And it's the most clever one that I think that I've heard of or saw so far. It is actually the foot of a droid leg as it's going along the conveyor belt around the top of the shop.
Oh,
so
wow.
as you see the droid parts on the conveyor belt at the top, you'll see like a droid leg. I forget what color it is. I want to say it's like orange or red or something like that. The foot of that droid leg is the actual truck.
That's so cool. I love that.
See,
Little
that's just
things like
that's
that.
brilliant. That is just absolute brilliance. I mean, talk about a scavenger hunt. That is just so fun. And yes, I did actually go to the top of the new Adventureland Treehouse. I haven't been on there since they changed it back over.
Yeah, I just
from
got to go when I
Tarzan's
was there
Treehouse.
in March.
And it's
I was
actually really nice.
Yes. I
They
loved
did a
it.
good job. And they chopped it halfway back, I think, because it used to be part way over that path that comes out of Adventureland and into New Orleans Square, where all that bottlenecking was happening with all the people. And I think that's definitely made a
It's so
huge
clear.
improvement.
It's so
Yes,
nice.
it is. You don't have to like figure out which way to go like by looking around this gigantic tree trunk. And I think that's where you used to either walk into the treehouse or walk out of it.
You used
But
to walk
now,
out of it, but I think
yeah.
back in the day, you used to walk into it in a different area, and then when they did Tarzan, they changed it. I think
Yeah.
that's what happened.
But
Obviously, I don't really
regardless,
remember.
they did a really good job. I mean, it was very simple.
And there's a
Even though they
lot of
call
little
it,
things in there.
yes, even though they call it the Adventureland Treehouse, you guys, I mean, if you've ever seen the Swiss Family Robinson, they actually still have the Swiss Family Robinson stuff in the tree once you get up to the upper levels and you hear the organ music playing, which is from the movie. And, they talk about mother and brother and stuff like that. And
It's
it's
very
what they
much
called each other.
inspired by the Swiss
Right.
Family Treehouse
Exactly.
and
They don't call
story.
it that, but it's the Swiss Family Treehouse.
Yeah, pretty much. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers that Disney has created as being this cross parks thing where they've got little hints of it in all different attractions throughout almost every single Disney park. It's a huge, like, hidden secret story within the parks themselves. So this
Oh,
is
okay.
tied in with that as well.
Nice.
It ties into Tokyo's Tower of Terror and Hong Kong's Mystic Manor and the former Pleasure Island in Walt Disney World. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. It's really cool.
Nice. And how do people go to that if they want to know more about it?
Google it. There's
Just Google it?
there's all kind literally there are so many little things throughout all the parks that it's really neat how
There's
they've done
not
it.
like a website for the Secret Society of
No,
what is it
it's
called again? The
kind
Secret Society of
the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, otherwise known as C. And
Oh, okay.
it's a lot of little nods. I think Joe Rohde he was an Imagineer, may have been the one who really kind of spearheaded it. I may be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But it's a really neat little. It's nothing huge, but it is this little nugget of adventure that you can point out and notice throughout multiple Disney attractions. It's really neat.
Sweet. Phantasmic is returning
Oh
to
yes.
Disneyland. Yes, on May 24th. The Last Dragon, and in case you guys have not heard who, the dragon is actually Maleficent in her dragon form, but in his animatronic form, he is affectionately known as Murphy, and the reason that everybody called him Murphy was because of Murphy's Law. And, it's basically like anything that can and will go wrong will happen, basically. And unfortunately, Murphy has faced a plethora of disasters over the years. And the last one burned
ending
down.
in an untimely, fiery death.
Yes, in a fiery, and it's not the last time or the first time that Murphy ever caught fire. In Phantasmic, he also caught fire on a Main Street parade, I think at Walt Disney World.
Oh
once,
yes,
isn't
that was
correct?
a different. Yeah, that happened.
But
too.
it was the dragon. It was not the exact same dragon, but they made it for the parade, and that one burned too. It's like, stop playing with fire.
We just got bad luck
Disney.
with fire breathing dragons at Disney.
Right.
It's just all bad.
So that happened back in April of 2023, and the attraction's been closed ever since. The new show is going to have Sorcerer Mickey battling Maleficent with what they're calling, in quotes, updated special effects. Don't know exactly what that is. My assumption is that it's going to be no dragon, or if there is going to be a dragon, they're just going to throw a projection up or something like that.
That's what they did during like B mode whenever the dragon was not working in the past. So,
Exactly.
but I did hear that I may be wrong about this. Am I wrong about this? I did hear that they are replacing the Pirates of the Caribbean section back with the Peter Pan section. Did I read that properly? I remember reading that.
They're replacing. Yeah.
Hold on.
You looked that up because I'm a little thrown off on that one too. But anyway, it returns on May 24th, and if you guys have missed it, you will be able to see it next. I've been actually trying to get a return trip back to Disneyland because of my last one, and I mean, just because I need a redo because not
You
only was I
deserve it.
not feeling well, I lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste when I was in the middle of this trip. And if you guys have ever been to Disneyland where you've lost either one of those senses, it's horrible.
No, it's very unpleasant.
Because there's so many good things to taste and smell out there. I mean, you walk by a popcorn cart and you smell nothing. It's my hell.
So the Orange County Register back on March 27th said that when the Phantasmic Spectacular returns, they will be incorporating the beloved Peter Pan sequence on the sailing ship Columbia instead of it's a returning scene. So it's the
Instead
old
of
version
pirates.
rather than the pirates, which
Okay, gotcha.
as much as I am a Pirates of the Caribbean girl, I can recite the whole first movie with my eyes closed in a hurricane, upside down with a kitten licking my nose. Peter Pan has my heart, and I am so excited to see that sequence come back because I feel like it's a better fit overall.
By the way, did you just ad-lib all that, or was that something
No,
that you used?
actually, my high school choir teacher used to say, you should be able to do all. This was maybe it was my high school drama teacher. I can't remember. Either way, they would say you should be able to do all of your lines upside down in a hurricane with a kitten licking your nose.
Okay, I'm so glad that you had some kind of preface to that because I'm like, how did
That
you
would have
come
been
up with
some
that
pretty
just
impressive
now?
improv. No, that I
Right?
definitely stole that from one of my high school teachers.
I was impressed either way. All right, so I think that's all the Disney news I have. Do you have anything else you wanted to add into this? Because I'm pretty much out of it except for movie news and just a couple other little things that I wanted to talk about from the
Yeah, I
trip that
can't think
had.
of any other park news that's like super prevalent.
Okay, that's
No.
fine. It's fair. We can move on. Um, let's see. Actually, let's finish wrapping up. So we actually we got there on a Wednesday. Our first official night at the park was Star Wars Night,
Ugh.
and that was really cool. We did our check-in. I think at around like 6 o'clock. I want to say that it starts officially at 8 o'clock. That's when they boot everybody else out of the park and start checking wristbands and stuff like that. And the cool thing was, at least for this particular event, I don't think I remember them doing this for any other event unless it's something new that I just have been unfamiliar with because I haven't been in the park in 2 years. But when they give you your event wristband, there is also a QR code on there. And the PhotoPass is included with that QR code. So you just link that to the Disneyland app. You go up to the places where they're taking pictures with everybody, and all you got to do is just show them your wristband. It links it to your Disneyland app, and your pictures appear right on your account. It's really cool.
Awesome.
It is really awesome, but ask us if we actually did any of the pictures.
I'm sure you didn't. I know from experience. I mean, I've never actually been to one of the Disney what do they call them?
They call them that, like the Disney After Dark events.
After Dark, Disney After Dark events. But I've worked them, and I heard a lot of people saying that trying to get as many pictures done as possible just often does not happen.
It's not as difficult for the ones that just have like a simple backdrop, but if you want to go to any place where there's a character, in this particular instance, they had Ewoks. I have to tell you, there was actually one place that we actually got to take a picture with somebody, and it was the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh wow, yeah, that's great.
And I think oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on her name right now, and my cousin would probably beat me up across the head because he's a big Star Wars fan, and I'm drawing a blank. Fennec Shan from the Mandalorian as well. I think they were standing right next to each other, and then of course the Mandalorian had Grogu in his little pouch.
Yes.
And the Grogu, my God, I went crazy over the Grogu. I lost all of my feelings about feeling sick and anything because my heart melted, and it's like all the adrenaline that kicked in from just seeing that was great. And the cool thing about that particular interaction was that you don't line up to take a picture with the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian chooses you out of a crowd.
Oh, man.
There is literally a full half circle of people like just crowded around the area that they're at. And you ask, hey, can we take pictures? And they let, the woman standing next to him, whoever the character name is that I'm drawing a blank on, says the Mandalorian will choose you to step forward. And one of our family members, or the friend of our family, got picked. His name was Sal. Hey, Sal, if you're ever going to watch this, hello. And the crazy thing is, out of all the people in our group, he is the person that's probably seen the least amount of Star Wars movies ever in his life. But it was really cool because, he got to talk to them. I got a really great picture of the two of them together on my iPhone. It took like a long exposure and it turned out beautifully. And it was just a really cool experience. But there was lots of other characters there.
I've seen some videos. I mean, exclusively, and I think this is just because of the part of the internet that I live on. I saw a lot of Queen Amidala and then Anakin Skywalker, of course.
Oh, nice.
Which is neat.
Yeah. What outfits were they in? Do you know which
She
episode?
was in her episode 1 outfit because, that's kind of the easiest one to do.
The big red dress? Or
yeah. I think it was the one with the long dangly ones. But yes, the face makeup, which obviously makes it, and then Anakin was in his episode 3 outfit, which does not make sense thematically, but really she's doing the meet and greet. You're going to meet her, and then he walks in and does patrol every once in a while.
I mean, thematically, nothing makes sense in Galaxy's Edge because, Kylo Ren is still walking around with his outfit on, and he's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
It's been 5 years, guys. Oh, man.
So yeah, unfortunately, didn't get a chance to take advantage of the pictures. We went on a couple of rides. I know we went on Rise of the Resistance, and even at the time, it said it was like, I don't know, 70 something minutes. We flew through it in probably like about 20, 25 minutes. It was really, really fast. And the ones that had never been on it before were blown away. And unfortunately, they had a B-roll going for the final scene where where Kylo's, trying to grab you with the Force, but instead they had the wall down, and then they had him on the projection with the ship flying around outside the, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one before, but I knew it existed. It was just interesting to see it. I don't know. I prefer the animatronic. It makes it more
The
realistic
last
to me.
time, not the last time I went, but the time I went before that, which was in August or September of 2023. I got to go twice in one day. Both times the wait time was probably, I waited about half an hour. And the animatronic was there both times. So it was like
happens.
Lightning doesn't strike twice, but that time it certainly did.
But I can tell you the one cool thing about going with a group of, actually at the time it was 5 people. We went on Smuggler's Run, and we got the whole ship to ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even get like a single rider to come with us to fill the other engineering spot in the back. But I was able to fly, and the same guy that got his picture taken with the Mandalorian got to be the other pilot as well.
Oh, that's nice.
And we had 2 gunners and then just 1 engineer. And, we didn't do that great, but it's
a good
still
time.
so much fun.
I imagine it's easier to do it when you're with other people that you know, because then you're not worried about being judged by strangers.
Right.
The last time that I went single rider, and every time I've done single rider, I've been engineer because that's the position nobody wants.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be
Same.
the pilot.
Yep.
And I ended up getting the family that was there. It was a family of 5, and they were like, none of us want to be the pilot. Please, you have to be the pilot.
Really?
And I was like,
wow.
Okay, here we go. First time being pilot ever, and it's
okay. But if you're a pilot, what seat are you in, right or left?
I was in left.
But what's your preference?
I would prefer to be in right if I'd had the choice, but I was not going to take that from a child.
And tell me why you want to be in the right-hand seat.
Right-hand seat gets to punch it.
That's right. It's so cool. When you get to go into hyperspace, you pull the lever that takes you into hyperspace, just like you see Han Solo do in the movies, and it is so exhilarating. I know it's just pulling a stupid lever, but I mean, it's just so much fun.
It absolutely is.
Where other place can you actually do that? You just can't. It's just so fun. We did go on Hyperspace Mountain quite a few times. That was so cool. I've been on it before when it was hyperspace, but I don't know, for some reason, this particular trip, I don't know if it was faster, darker, more clear projections of the battle that's going on around you. But there are certain places where you feel like the lasers are literally coming right at your face. There's a TIE fighter coming right at your face. It was just so much fun. I mean, the theming outside of the ride is not that big of a deal, but the inside was just, it's just so much fun. Any Star Wars fan should always go. And of course, any Star Wars fan should also go on Star Tours, which we did do.
Naturally.
I was only able to go on it once, but I did see at least one of the new scenes.
I heard
where
about those.
yeah, I think it was Grogu was in one of them, and it's funny because he's playing with a frog while the whoever is talking about the mission is happening. It might have been the Mandalorian. And, the frog ends up like floating around in zero gravity and it starts floating right towards your eyes when you're sitting in the Star Cruiser. And at the very end of the projection, it cuts out with Grogu, like, I forget, like throwing the frog at you or something like that, but it makes you jump.
That's
And
great.
it's so much fun. And I forget the final destination that we went, but it was also, oh, we got to go see have you seen The Mandalorian before?
On the ride or in general?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Apologies. Ahsoka is what I meant to say.
Yes. Not on
Yes.
the ride, but in general.
Right, but you've seen Ahsoka, so the space, if I say space whales, you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
yes, I know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
so the space whales scene is what we got to see at the very, very end.
Oh, that's
so yeah,
neat.
and I think it actually, Ahsoka is talking to you on your star speeder and everything, and there was one cool thing that I thought was awesome, where Ahsoka actually says at the very end of her transmission when you're, trying to, escape whoever the bad guys are in Ahsoka, which I can't remember. I think it's the Empire. But when you're escaping them and she says her final sign off, she's like, "Good to see you again, R2." And I was
Oh,
like, "Oh my God, that's so cool," because I don't think she ever got to see him in the series Ahsoka.
no, that's
But
cute.
we
That's so
know
cute.
their past because when she was
Yeah.
training under Anakin as Snips, her name was Snips, if anybody's ever seen Rebels, Ahsoka trained under Anakin. She was his Padawan learner. And, of course, Anakin's droid was R2-D2. So
Yeah, that's so cute.
they hadn't seen each other apparently for a very long time. But I thought that was such a neat little touch. I was like, "Aw."
A lot of people were really upset when they changed Star Tours, but I love that they have the opportunity to do all of these new
Yeah.
things. I
Yeah.
remember when they first started implementing, they added a bunch of new for the projection. They added new characters at some
Yes.
point.
Yep.
And it was a couple of weeks, I think, after or maybe it was days. I can't remember. No, it was either days, weeks, or months. Within 6 months of Carrie Fisher's passing,
Mm.
we had gotten at the time the Princess Leia one.
Yes.
And my mom and I like looked at each other and just started sobbing.
Of
But
course.
I think it's great that they have the opportunity to change it up all the time.
I
That's
love it.
so nice
I mean,
because
yes, it's the same ride it's been ever since the 80s, but at the same time, it's changing now. It's a different flight path every time. No tour is the same. Well,
yeah.
almost
Well,
no. I mean, if you go on it like 20
within
times in one day, you're bound to hit the same one at some
Oh,
point.
yeah.
But yeah, it makes it feel different every time, and that is the magic of Disney. That is what we love.
Wonderful.
Uh, Not much else to report from the trip. The weather was incredible. The crowds were moderate. It wasn't too crazy.
You were just miserably ill.
Just miserably ill. Just hopped up on a lot of medicine and just tried to push through everything as best I could. Stayed as far away from as many people as I could, as best I could. We only had like one incident. Cast members were fantastic, but there was this one particular incident, and I'm going to talk about it. But I'm going to put a positive spin on this because this is you, the listener, as a guest, being an advocate for yourself when things don't seem to go the way that you think that they should. And doing it in a way that is, not
Respectful
aggressive
and
or it is respectful. Yeah, exactly. So Lisa goes in a scooter, electric scooter that we just rent from a place across the street. And if you have a scooter, but you don't have like the disability return, you can still go to the exit of certain rides because certain rides cannot accommodate scooters in the regular standby queue because the aisles are just too short. Scooters can't fit. So you usually go up and, talk to a cast member at these green umbrellas around the park. And they even told us that at City Hall. Go to these green umbrellas. They circled the little areas on the map. Or they said you can also go to the entrance or the exit of the ride that you wish to return to, and they'll give you a return time. And all you do is you basically get a return time for however long the queue is for that moment. So if you go to Peter Pan and say the wait time is 25 minutes, you go to the entrance or exit and say, "I'd like to get a return for this, please." They say, "Okay, we've scanned you in, come back in 25 minutes." And then from there, you go on the ride. but it's
Yeah.
only because they can't accommodate those types of vehicles. And that's really only for Disneyland. A lot of other places, they already have paths that can accommodate scooters and wheelchairs and all that kind
I
of
know
stuff
when
now.
DCA was built, it was built with that in mind.
Right. They had to. I think it was
Yeah.
like the law.
OSHA stuff.
Exactly. So anyway, we're doing this through the entire trip, right? And we're, like certain Fantasyland rides. I think even Big Thunder, because, Big Thunder, you have to climb stairs in order to get to the station. You can't do that in a scooter, obviously.
Yeah, no.
And so on the very last day, where we go up to the main street umbrella area, and there was a cast member there that we spoke to and said, "Oh, we'd like to get a return time for this particular ride." I think it was Hyperspace Mountain at the time. And she had made a comment that, well, we're not supposed to do it here, but as a courtesy, I'll go ahead and allow it this time. So what time, how many people in your guests? And we're like, wait a second, I'm sorry, it's not allowed here? When we came here, I gave her the whole spiel that we went to City Hall, we got a map, had the places circled. And we've been going to these umbrellas the entire time we were there, 5 days total. That was the 5th day that we were doing it. And she insisted that we are not supposed to go to those umbrellas. You're supposed to go to either the entrance or the exit of the ride and get the return time from there instead of the umbrellas. And I was just like, this doesn't seem right. So we get our return time, and then as we're waiting and we're doing other attractions, I go to another umbrella that happens to be close to the other spot we were going to. And I said, we were at this other umbrella, and, a cast member told us this and that. And she's like, one of the first things she says was, "Do you know who this person was?"
Oh, no.
I said, "You know what? I'm usually pretty good about looking at names when something like that happens, but I don't remember her name." She's like, "Well, about what time was it? And, was it a woman? Was it a man?" And I gave her the information. I wasn't trying to tattle. I just wanted to know the truth. That's all.
Yeah,
this is the
that's
advocation
fair.
part that I'm talking about. Yeah. Because it didn't seem right. Like everybody else in the entire time that we were there for almost 5 days, they're like, "Yeah, you can do this. No problem. Here's your return time." Everybody was
Right.
like super helpful, except for this one person. And then I come to find out after talking to a couple of different cast members, that particular person was wrong. So if you
Oh,
go
well,
to the
that's
park,
good.
if you go to the park and somebody tells you different than what you've already been doing, just go up to other cast members and poll them and just say, "Hey, this person told me that, but I've been doing it this way this entire time. Can you help me understand what the right thing to do is?" Because I don't want to inconvenience anybody at the park. And I don't want anybody to be an inconvenience to me. It's just how the world should work. And
The first thing to remember is that the cast members are there to help. If you have
yes.
a question, just ask them. Don't sit and assume. I mean, if it doesn't seem right, feel free to ask, because you never know if it's somebody's first day or their last day.
100%. That could have been her last day. Who knows?
Yeah. So, always good to use your resources.
Well, we're almost out of time, and I haven't even touched on movies yet. I've been blah, blah, blah this whole time. I'm just going to do a quick mention. Inside Out, Part 2. Opens in theaters on June 14th. The original cast is reprising all their roles, and they have...
with the exception of 2, I believe.
What's that?
With the exception of 2, I believe. Mindy Kaling is not doing Disgust, and...
Oh, right, yeah. They do have a couple new voice actors for those. Yeah, and
those two. But everybody else is
the guy that does Fear, I think.
Fear, whose name is escaping me, which is ridiculous because I love him.
But anyway, quick synopsis. Riley's turning 13, and she has some new emotions, including anxiety, envy, and embarrassment. I think there's one other one, but I didn't quite get that one's name. Ennui? What is that?
Boredom.
Boredom, okay. I saw
Ennui
it
just
spelled...
means boredom.
Okay. Is that French or something?
I don't know. It's not like straight boredom. There's like an undertone to it, but I had to look it up when I saw that was one of them. I was like, that is a choice you guys made.
I thought somebody was trying to spell envy
choice.
and just made a typo or something.
Oh, no.
So that's June 14th. Very much looking forward to that. It looks like a lot of fun. Love the first movie. And then, of course, the next one, it falls under the Disney umbrella, but I have to say it because I'm super excited for it, is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, yes.
That is going to be in theaters July 26th. Got a little bit more time to wait on that one, but Ryan Reynolds is, of course, reprising his role as Deadpool, and then Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. IMDb synopsis says Wolverine is recovering from his injuries when he crosses paths with the loudmouth Deadpool. They team up to defeat a common enemy. Super vague. But from my observations, it looks like there's going to be a lot of multiverse interaction in this. There's going to be other Marvel characters, possibly some Avengers, and definitely some X-Men returning as well. which are including, but maybe not limited to, Professor X, which Patrick Stewart will reprise his role. Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner. She's going to be reprising her role as that character. Azazel from X-Men First Class. He's one of the teleporters, similar to the Nightcrawler from X-Men 2. Shatterstar, who was a very short-lived superhero from Deadpool 2. He didn't last for very long. X-Force, you know.
Yeah.
Pyro, who I believe was also from X-Men 2, and Colossus, who is a returning character from the Deadpool movies as well. And he's been in other X-Men movies as well, but we know him now as the Russians, dialected, big guy.
Yeah.
Five things, Deadpool,
Yeah.
5 moments. So anyway, they look awesome. Watch the trailers, check out the release dates, and get your tickets, because I think that they are available for pre-sale now, which surprises me. I think maybe not Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm not sure. But anyway, quick Google search. I'm sure it'll tell you. A couple more quick things to wrap up here. The last episode, I did say that the Etsy shop is open. It is still open, and now we have 10, count them, 10 total designs for t-shirts to buy.
Very exciting.
Go on Etsy. I will put a post about it on social media within the next couple of days as well. If you just look up Main Gate Magic, all one word, on Etsy, you will see the products in there. Just look for our store, and there are multiple colors for every design. There's multiple sizes, and I believe standard shipping is only like $3. It's really cheap. And I think the t-shirts themselves are $20. So the t-shirts are all original designs by me. But if you guys have any design ideas that you want me to try, anything that you're like, ooh, this would make a good t-shirt, and I think it would really be cool, tell me about it. I want to make it. I love doing stuff like that. I love challenges like that, and I'd love to be able to put it on the store. And of course, if you tell me about it, I will give you credit and maybe even have you as a guest on the show or something like that. That'd be super awesome. Next week, and again, we are going weekly with our podcast, even though we had to skip a week because of being sick. Right, exactly. We are going to have Mr. Josh Schaefer. Do you like fun facts? If you don't, you're going to. Yes, you're going to know all about Mr. Fun Facts, a.k.a. the Disney guy. My friend, my buddy, Josh Schaefer. He's a super cool guy, knows a heck of a lot more about Disney than I think anybody in this entire universe. And I do mean universe, because the guy's a walking Disney encyclopedia. He has a book out that is called Discovering the Magic Kingdom. And he's also a pin creator and voice actor as well. So he'll be on to talk about all his successes doing that. Yep. That'll be on Tuesday, May 28th at 6 o'clock p.m. That is all I've got, and I am out of breath. And we're only 3 minutes past the hour. Anything to finalize with, wrap up with? Anything you want to bring up?
It's been a joy, always.
Yes.
I'm so excited about all of Disney's new things that are coming out. We did spend a lot of time talking about them, but with good reason, as we should.
Yes, definitely. Anything that brings that kind of joy into our lives, I want to keep putting it out in the world, and I hope you guys had fun listening today. So thanks, y'all, for joining again. If you're the first-time customer, welcome. If you're a repeat customer, welcome back. And for the latest news on Main Gate Magic, go to our Instagram site or our Facebook site. It has all the information about how to catch us live on future episodes and even catch up on past episodes. And if you want to just listen to us, if you're just a listening podcast listener only, you can go on Apple Podcasts, you can go on Spotify, Apple Music, and Podcast Index. Those are all going to be available, or they are all available.
Everywhere.
We are everywhere. And the one for this particular episode, I'll be uploading about an hour after the show is completed. So download to your heart's content, folks. Hope you guys all had fun listening. Love the show. Mimi, thanks for all your feedback. And thank you again for being such a wonderful co-host.
Oh, always happy to be here.
Thank you. And we will see you all next week. Hope you all do well.
Yay.
Take care. Be safe and stay healthy.
Yes,
For God's sakes. Don't be me.
No.
Have a good night, everybody. Take